Melbourne not in danger of apartment oversupply in 2017, industry experts say. Oversupply won't be a problem in Melbourne's new apartment market this year, industry experts say, with one warning the city may even face a shortage of high-rise units in the long term. Developers say the apartment approval figures often quoted to reveal the state of the market are a red herring, with many green-lit projects failing to get off the ground. Some investors are even obtaining permits for apartments without any intention of building them, inflating figures. No more dog boxes. Archer Centre Australia welcome new apartment design rules. Report. Outdoor space more valuable the smaller an apartment in Melbourne. Beller Project Marketing Associate Director Heath Thompson said a snapshot of Richmond's market, which is perceived to be oversupplied, showed the discrepancy between the apartments being approved and built. CBRE figures reveal the suburb had 4148 units in the pipeline late last year. Of those, just 543 had begun to be built, and a further 1137 were set to commence in the short term, leaving 2468 unlikely to kick off in the near future. Mr. Thompson said the number of apartments actually eventuating was likely to be even lower, as developers were combining their smaller one-bedroom offerings to create two-bedroom homes because they were selling better. This was the case at Forza Capital's supply company in Richmond, where the planned apartments dropped from about 140 to 130. The CBRE researchers said the last few years had seen an aberration of purchaser demand, overly influenced by investors, that had now died down. Supply won't reach the ridiculous levels some are talking about, so the impacts shouldn't be as severe, the researchers said. Stellar Managing Director Nicholas Smedley said apartment approval numbers were further inflated by the fact some investors were buying sites and getting permits for as many dwellings as they can to improve the value to flip the sites without any intention of building on them. This can happen 2 to 3 times on the same site, so it could take 6 to 8 years before something is built, if at all, Mr. Smedley said. He said banks were also no longer funding many of the small investor-focused apartments that had been once sought by overseas buyers, regardless of whether they had been approved by planning authorities. This was partially because local downsizers and first and second home buyers were now the primary purchasers of inner Melbourne apartments, and they demanded larger floor plans, fewer units in a building and quality fittings, Mr. Smedley said. Urban Development Institute of Australia's State Chief Executive Danny Addison said new ABS data showed approvals for apartments 4-story or more buildings had fallen 22% in the year to November in Victoria, minimizing the perceived oversupply risk. If we look long-term, trends like this indicate we're facing a potential undersupply of high-rise apartments, she said. As Australia's fastest-growing state in terms of population, the pressure is on to maintain a solid pipeline of new housing. Samantha.Landy@news.com.au